Ever wanted to learn photography during lockdown? This is a quick video showcasing you the easy steps in terms of how to learn photography whilst in lockdown. So you might be at home, might be bored, thinking about doing something new. This video will showcase to you all the various features on this DSLR camera. So to basically switch it on, all you do is you press your on button and your screen will come on. Now this camera is a Canon camera, and here you've got your wheel where it will tell you the various things that you can do. So if you want to make a home film, for example, and you want to shoot a little short film maybe at home, you select this. If you want to do sort of creative shots, you will select that. Sports shots, now probably not moving around very much at home. You might be making sort of home sort of videos in terms of like aerobics and things like that. Maybe you want to post online. You may select this one. You might be thinking about doing macro shots. What basically macro is close-up shots. However, you do need the right lens. So on this one, I've got a standard 18 to 55mm lens. You need a really 50mm lens to get some real nice macro shots, preferably a Canon or a Nikon ranged lens with the sort of manufacturer will do a really good job. And then you got sort of outdoor shots and you got portrait shots. These are the various settings for various shots that you can shoot. Then you've got a Creative Auto. So Creative Auto allows you to, if I press the Q button, allows you to have a little bit of depth of field. So if you press the Q button and press that, you can sort of change it to monochrome, or you can sort of change the background blur to whatever you want it to be. Okay, so a lot of this is preset. So on Creative Auto, a lot of it is preset. You can't really change much. You're shutting your aperture. So if I just lightly sort of press this, it will give me my shutter, aperture, with what I've got here in this setting. So if I take a picture of these elements, you can see I've taken that in monochrome. So I've got this kind of perfume here. And again, if I take the picture, it showcases to you that, like, because like I'm so focused in. So if I press maybe autofocus, select autofocus on an image stabilization and take a picture of this again. Okay, so you can see that I've got monochrome. So I've got no card, so that monochrome is basically black and white. You might be thinking about shooting at home, doing some photography at home, and you don't really want to play with settings. Your A plus is basically the auto on the camera. So this basically sets everything for you. So you don't really necessarily need to do much. So if I take this picture again. Okay, so if I just show you that. So I've just taken these perfume bottles. And you can see that is in pretty good focus. I'll take that picture again. Okay, there you go. So that's quite a nice photograph. Because I'm shooting in good light, the pictures are coming out quite well as well. However, you might want to do something a little bit more advanced. If I sort of zoom back in and go to manual mode, this is where you can set up your settings. So you would go to the Q button. So the Q button's here. And then this, when you press that, this will go blue. And then you can sort of hover through these various things. So if you want to shoot in manual, you want a single shot, you select that. That's basically one shot image. Or you can do continuous. Maybe you do some slow like burst mode shots. What basically burst mode is lots of shots in one frame. Well, so multiple frames. Usually done in sports photography. So if you're at home and you're just learning photography at home, that's probably not going to be useful for you. This is your shutter. So it's basically a little get in the camera, and that opens and closes. So the more, so basically the slower it is. So if I take that to one, like half a second basically. If I take a picture of this again, but this I move it around. Okay, what I'll get is a little bit of motion blur. So let me just do that again. So let me just sort of take it a little bit more up, about 1/4. And again, you take a picture. You've got to hold your camera still for this one. But what you'll get is a bit of motion blur. Okay, so useful. So in good light, you want to take it up to about, say, 125. Again, if I take a picture of that. So if I again take a picture of this thing. Okay, you can see that's in focus now. So that's your shutter speed. And then you got your aperture. So you got your aperture over here as well. So your aperture is basically, so if I press the Q button again, if I press the Q button and zoom up to this one here, that's my aperture. And again, I could just use this wheel to increase and decrease my aperture as much as I need. So that's quite useful as well. And then you got your ISO. So if you select your ISO, select that. You can sort of change your ISO. ISO is basically sensitivity of light. So today I'm shooting in quite good light, so you can see my video is quite well sort of lit basically. So I don't really need to play around with that. I'm just going to leave that on auto. So yeah, if you're shooting at home in lockdown, you can go into manual mode and select whatever, you know, like whatever you want to do. So if you do like maybe some slow shutter speed work, you might want to just select that and just take that down and reduce the shutter or increase the shutter if you want. If you do macro shots, you might want to take up your f-stop to f22 for example, or down to f4 3.5. So basically your f number, the smaller the number, the bigger opening. The bigger the number, the smaller the opening. So what that basically means is letting in more light if it's a bigger opening. So and if it's a smaller opening, bigger number, it will let less light in. So today's quite a nice day, so I might want to keep my f number to probably about, I don't know, about oh, I've got the wrong one, sorry. I might want to sort of take it up to about maybe 5.6 if I'm shooting in outdoors or by a window, for example. This is your flash. So if you want your flash on, off, built-in flash, you can have that on, you know, depends on what you're shooting. And that's basically your file size. So this is quite important, guys. If you are shooting like maybe portraits in the house and you want to do a bit of fashion photography, maybe you set up a little business online and you're selling clothes or whatever it may be, you might want to shoot in RAW. Okay, what RAW basically is going to capture a lot more detail in image. However, it's going to use a lot more data on your SD card. So you can see I've got it on RAW and the picture's 18 megapixels. So that's a large file size. And it's going to take a lot more data on your SD card and probably use a lot more space on your SD card. So you might want to consider about getting a large gigabyte SD card and a class 10, which is basically the best classification SD card you can get online. So if you go to Amazon and just look for a class 10 card, you will want to use one of those. So yeah, basic features, folks, for lockdown. So you might want to also play around with all these various settings. If I click on my Q button again, if I click on this, these are all the camera settings. I would suggest you put your grid on. So if you're filming, put your grid on. That helps in terms of like sort of kind of so if I show you that, there's a grid on this. Okay, what that basically does, it allows you to sort of kind of frame up your filming. So if I've got this object here, I can frame it up, for example, with certain key points, which are these. So that's quite important. You have that. I'm filming this at home. I'm doing it on a table on my own. So it's very difficult for me to frame things up. I've tried my best doing it on this sort of table, and I've used I'm literally by a window to get good lighting as well. So my video is pretty decent quality. It's not grainy. So you might want to consider these things when you're at home in lockdown, filming, photography, or etc. Like light is the most important thing in filming and photography. And, you really want to sort of capture light as best as you can whilst you're in lockdown to get some real nice images. Use your mirror, use your window. You can get some real nice images with just natural light. I don't like using fluorescent lights and all these other things. And if you can sort of use natural light in a creative way, you'll get some real nice quality images and video whilst in lockdown. So really sort of consider those things. But if you don't want to really play with all those things, just put in auto, A+, or creative auto, or auto, depending on what camera you have, Nikon, Canon, DSLR, or even a Samsung, or maybe an LG, whatever you may have. They all have an auto mode. They all sell sort of 18 to 55mm lenses, and the lenses are quite easy to take off. You just basically press the button. There's a little white dot, that one there. You just basically twist it, and the lens will come out. Put it back in, twist it again, and it'll go back in. So that's really, really dead easy to use. Try some slow shutter speed with light. There's lots of people online doing low shutter speed lockdown photography, which is really, really useful. So if you've got like lights at home, maybe some table lamps or some kids lamps, or maybe even your phone, or maybe just anything that you can use to play around with light, you might be able to capture some real nice things within your photography. So I've got this kind of if I just get this in frame, these necklaces. So these sort of things work really, really well. Jewelry, for example, works really well. I wish those were diamonds. They're not diamonds. They're just normal. It's just a normal necklace. But those sort of things, not mine, by the way. Those sort of things went really, really well to capture really interesting photography. So I'm going to make another video. I'm going to have the top 5 lockdown creative shots, and I'm going to do a little bit of experimentation as opposed to doing a camera settings demo. So please stay tuned for that next video. Appreciate you guys watching this. Any questions, please do post. Subscribe to the channel, and also press that like button. I do like making videos on cameras, and today one was about basic features, learning photography during lockdown. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you for the next one.